episode number 2 of Days with My Stepsister. I appreciate some of the comments and stuff from last time. Seeing people are cool with us taking that kind of tone approach that I was mentioning, at least going a little bit forward and trying to maybe match the vibe of the show a little bit more, instead of trying to really play into and play up things a little bit more. So we'll kind of go with that and maybe alter things a little bit as we go on and see if the tone stays very similar to how it was going forward. So cool. And we will continue this because, like I said last time, I had a lot of fun and I actually enjoyed it quite a bit, despite it being such a drastic, like maybe different thing than I was expecting. And also the tone of it actually playing itself to be really slow and the pacing being kind of dragged a little bit, which I think we're all intentional and all good things for what we're trying to kind of display. So I am excited to get into more. I don't know, once again, if, as we have to see with the future content of it, how much is going to be good for, say, reaction purposes, and if there's anything that's going to be good for, say, discussion purposes, or if we're just going to be in for absolutely neither of them, or maybe both of them will be, or maybe one or the other, but we'll have to see, and we're going to kind of operate beyond that, and then we'll see how you guys are still feeling as we continue onwards with it. But I'm liking it so far, so I am excited to get into more. We've moved in, everybody's kind of good together, we've laid out some boundaries and some other things. I'd make the assumption we go to school now, like it's been a couple days, so I'd make the assumption we're probably there for the first time and probably seeing each other and seeing each other possibly interacting with friends or other people for the first time, as opposed to at this setting, and then seeing if we can kind of mask that, or seeing if we will operate like where we talk to each other at any sort of point. I know they laid some groundwork where he was like, I won't talk to you, and she's like, why? That doesn't really matter, which is good, and I'm happy that they kind of talk that out and discuss this. So we'll see exactly how they want to approach this a little bit more, but I am really excited and intrigued, I think should be the word I use, not excited, to how this goes. So hopefully you guys enjoy. If you like it, like and subscribe to the announcement, feel free to stick around for the discussion on the comments of this episode series. Let's go on episode 2. Let's see, is she gonna be up before him? I'm gonna assume yes, because girl, makeup, long hair, lots of other things. Right and early. Alone.
やめとけ。マル、綾瀬だろ。人の恋路に口出しするのは野暮かもしれんが、全くおすす
I would recommend, you know.
あんな美人と俺が釣り合うわけないし。
逆だ。綾瀬じゃお前の価値が落ちる。
Uh-oh, bad rep. Uh-oh.
良くない噂があるんだよ。
Nah, they're just rumors, though. She seemed chill.
してるらしいんだよ。売り。
は？
Going to who?
ピアス。常に不機嫌そうな顔で周囲を受け付けない。不良ってことで、クラスでもかなり。
Probably the people she cut off being fucking bitches. Yeah, fuck them, dude.
で信じるなんて珍しいね。
同じ野球部に告白したやつがいてな。本人に言われたんだとよ。私悪い噂。
Oh, she's using though.
振られた腹いせって線は。
多分ない。
No, it could be.
のやつからも似たような話はよく聞く。
一つ一つが主観でも数が多ければ客観か。
そういうことだな。あ、妹ができたんだろこのお兄ちゃんめ。
ああ。
You're right. Yeah. Apparently she's out at night selling herself. Yeah, that would have been a fucking crazy drop. That would have been great. Oh my god. Is that the girl that she's friends with? That we see from the OP?
サボり？
びっくりした。なんで普通に話しかけてきてるの？
知った顔がサボってたら気になるでしょ。
兄として妹にお説教。
Something like that.
説教できるほど立派な人間じゃないよ。ただ、綾瀬さんもテニスを選んだんだなって。
マーヤに同じ競技にしとこうって。
Okay, so they are. That is the girl.
理由はそれだけじゃないんだけど。
She seems like fun. Maybe a little spacey, but she's there.
仲悪い子いないと思う。
Yeah, she seems like that.
確かに。
浅村くんは なんでテニスにしたの？
あんまり褒められたもんじゃないんだけど。
大丈夫。私ももう一個の理由は情けないや
Was
つだ
there
から。
a girl you were interested in?
団体戦がないから
Ah,
他人に期待するとか期待されるとか。
gotcha.
つくづく
I really enjoy tennis as well, and it's for a similar reason.
やりたくなかったんだよね。
Yeah.
私他の子と距離取ってるし。
もしかして教室でちょっと浮いてたり。
意外？
まあおしゃれな女子って教室の中心にいるイメージだった。
Yeah, well, remember what she said last time?
構わないでくれたらその分自分のためだけに時間を使える。
That's a good thing.
音楽を聴く時間。
ああ、まあね。夕飯作っておいたわよ。
ありがとうございます。
She's leaving at the same time you're
すいま
coming
せん
in.
お仕事前に。
もう接客もするけど私バーテンダーなのよ。
そうなんですか。
そろそろ行かなきゃ。ご飯のことはまた相談しましょう。
If I ever see you again before I come
さっ
back.
きのことよろしくね。
No, we are very closely.
おかえり。
Not a good day. Uh-oh.
どうぞ。
Never mind, she wants to talk.
ただいま。
Oh.
お
Could have just yelled it.
おかえり。
両立させてるんだ。
そこ不思議があるところ。
Some people gotta do.
あのさ、
I like this shot.
簡単に稼げる高額バイト知らない？お金は欲しいけど、あまり時間を使いたくなくてさ。
I've heard of one.
1、2時間の
Hey,
拘束で
specifically.
サクッ
Ooh.
と1万円
Yeah,
以上
like-
とか
Ooh.
どうかな？
いや、
Not any you should probably be doing. Ugh.
やっぱり売るしかないか。
売る。
Huh?
稼ぎたいなら自分を売るべしって書いてあったし。
She's definitely not talking about that, right? Or is she?
こういうこと言うのマナー違反かもしれないけど。
She's got like a nasty shoe collection she's selling. She's reselling
私か
shit
ら
on
質問
eBay.
したんだし。
Kinda hope.
もっと自分の体を大切にした方がいいと思うんだ。
私は私のことを
Tell me
大切
I'm
にしてるよ。だからこそお金をたくさん稼いでおきたいの。
アキコさんの前でも言える。
言えるけど、むしろサキも大人になったって喜びそう。
すごい教育方針だね。
浅村家は違ったの？浅村くんがそういうことを始めた時、お父さん喜ばなかった？
喜んだら大問題でしょ。っていうか、なんで俺がすでにやってる前提なの？
バイト、昨日言ってたじゃん。
え？本当に？
Yeah, I just
その通
assumed.
り。
もういいって。冷めるよ。不思議がって当然だと。
I mean, especially after what he heard today.
社会を渡っていくための武装そのものってこと。
How so?
防御力が上がるの？
戦いはあるんだよ。見えないところでね。今日、お母さんと会った？
Yep.
うん。
仕事行く時のお母さん、綺麗だったでしょ。
それは、うん。そうだね。
Hmm, that's sweet.
最終学歴は高卒なの。
そうなんだ。
高卒で、美人で、水商売。つまり頭が悪くて、見た目がいいことだ。
Yep. It's a common thing.
そんな風に言われてるとこ、何度も見てきた。
なんせ。
And it's slowly turning its way towards you, right?
うん。
しかも、そういう声ってずるいんだ。巧妙に逃げ場のない論理展開をしてくる。
どんな？
I mean, that's essentially what they start doing now.
外面が悪いといけすかないインテリ女。外面が良くて頭が悪いと体で地位を得てる枕営業女。誰かに頼れば美人は寄生すればいいから楽と言われ、一人で努力すれば頼る男もいないかわいそうなやつって言われる。
I'm not used to hearing that second one, but I guess cultural differences.
の姿は武装なんだよ。おしゃれを完璧に自分をどうにか引き上げた上で学業も仕事も 何もかも完璧な強い
So I have to
他人
conquer both.
そのための第一歩。
I gotta get over the stereotype of it.
体力と引き換えに見返せるなら本望だから。
見返す。誰を？
Who are your enemies? The way they color the eyes, he looks
浅
so
村君も
dead.
私と同じなんじゃない？期待されるのもするのもめんどくさいって気持ちでしょ。そういうのから解放されるには一人で生きていけるだけの力が必要なの。
それがバイトを探してる理由なんだ。
Do it on your own.
他人から自立して生きていくため。
Yep. I think finding and working with people and striking the balance there is crucial and not something that she seems to be capable of or maybe even understanding yet at this point.
なんか知ってるかも。明日聞いてみるよ。
ありがとう。でもこっちが一方的にもらいっぱなしってのも
そういうの別に。
It's just a question.
よくないよ。私が
All right, well, come in and ask them.
じゃあ味噌汁。毎日味噌汁作ってほしい。
愛の告白？
No.
いや、そうじゃん。
I get why she thinks that.
何年かぶりですごくうまいと思ってさ。
Instantly flash, bring back memories for it.
あきこさん仕事もあるし大変かなって。
So you do
いいけ
it,
ど
and I'll help you
料
out.
理作るの別に嫌い
A
じゃないし。
trade. Until you find the job, and then she no longer has time to cook for you, and then what do we have remaining?
大変だ。
どうしたの？あきこさん起こしちゃうよ。
でもさきちゃんが。
なんで朝食を作ってるの？
なんでって。
Yeah, that was not for ever, though. Not for everything.
あれは夕食。
I love the dad. He's like, holy fuck.
テイクはギブを多めにっていうのがポリシーだから。
That's a risky one to take out. Look at it. He's in the middle of shaving.
さきちゃんごちそうさま。本当美味しかった。感動した。行ってきます。
I said it last time, but I love the dad. He's so fun.
気を使わなくていいよ。
いや、本当に。ただ目玉焼きには醤油かけることが多かったから。
そうなんだ。うちはずっと塩と胡椒で。ごめん。
いやいや、綾瀬さんは知らなかったわけだし、事前に言っておかなかった俺が悪いよ。
次からはなるべく前に聞くね。
Yeah, to be fair, he had no clue you were going to be doing this.
後輩くんがそんな意識高い系だったなんて。
No, not for me.
ああ、
Super money making is an insane
違うんで
thing.
す。なんていうか。
自立したい気持ちはわかるけど、妹が理由っていうのは違うでしょ。
ダメですか？
ダメじゃないけど、もったいない。同年代の妹とかむしろ資産でしょ。
For what? In what way are we?
自分の力で生きていけなかったら誰かに頼ってもいいと思うんだよね。
Which is what I was trying to say earlier. But not fully.
重荷になっているとしても。
世の中には重い女の方が好きっていう物好きもいてね。
それは個々の思考かと。
That is. But there's so many of them that do.
もんだよ。あったらよし、ないならないで代わりに。
And you learn to go with it like that.
そういうもんですかね。
You adjust accordingly to what you have.
意外と助けられ上手だったりするわけだよ、少年。
They all have fucking managers and personal helpers and
金持ちパパの一人や二人いないと思った？
I don't think so.
この野郎。
まあとにかくさ、家族に頼るマインドを身につけたら。
仲のいい女の人とかいたんだ。
そこ？
応援してるよ。
That's what you took from this conversation.
美人で気さく、その上知識もあるお姉さん。
Ah. I don't think so.
こと正しい
She's very fun though.
うん。
けど、それでも私は自立したいと思ってる。
That's fine.
俺や親父には頼れない。
うん。二人ともすごくいい人で頼りがいがあると思う。
But has your own reasons.
でも二人が悪人だったらもう少し気が楽だった。
Be easier.
ごちそうさま。
What is that oddly placed bag? I was gonna say a good luck charm, but I have no clue what that is. I thought he was skating for a second when the way he was animated going up there. For whatever reason, I thought he was like skating up the hill. Thought they were gonna end it. Wait, you can't just cut. Pan to the other side and show her. Thank you. Thank you. What the f-
死ぬかもしれない行為はさすがにスルーできないよ。
ごめん。
そろそろそうかな。
No umbrella. A classic.
ただいま。
Did he just give it to her and run away? Yeah. What the fuck? Oh. Huh. 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 I really like that. I don't know what else you want me to say. I feel like every episode I've watched from things at least this season, which hasn't been a lot. It's only really been the things on this channel, but I feel like I just kind of come out of them and I'm like, I had fun. I liked it. I'm not angry, which I think is a good sign, and it's a good sign that we have lots of good things for us to get into here. I am left a little, I guess, confused or conflicted almost on some of the things that maybe the episode was trying to get across to us as maybe a overall like message that they were trying to get to us, but it could just be like we're building towards it, and that almost is what it seems like in some of the scenes where they linger for a decent amount of time, where others seem to be cut pretty quick. Of course, I feel like all of this is being really intentional for the way that they're building it, and I don't have an issue with like the pacing or anything regarding that, but it's more of just a interesting decision because we have so many questions or things that aren't really revealed enough about the characters themselves or their feelings or anything with them, and then here we are just transitioning us like from scene to scene or slowing down certain ones that maybe don't, I think, add as much to it. So it's a really interesting thing, but I feel like that's something that will pay itself off as we get maybe the next one or the next episode after that, and we just kind of really have to slowly go through each of them until we maybe burst and explode at a certain point. Maybe we don't even get there, but maybe everything just builds upon itself. Extremely nice. I don't know. We learn a little bit about Saki. I wouldn't say a lot. We learn a little bit about her. And I say only a little bit and not a lot just because she gives us an insight into why she is doing things the way that she is, why she approaches kind of her day-to-day life, and just like who she really is and what makes up all of that. But the thing is, we don't really know why that drives her or what she's ultimately going towards. The only thing that we can really latch onto is the idea of her unfortunately having to go through a situation where, seeing from the outside based on the profession and stuff that her mom has kind of come into, and based on the I guess education and everything, basically her entire life leading up to where she is now, the weird things that others of course say, the assumptions and rumors and all these things that kind of get created as a result due to her appearance and due to her schedule of not really being around her daughter, and due to her having to work at certain times at night, and due to her not having a proper full-on college education and all this stuff, right? Like assuming that she needs to have all these things, and then now you see also single mother for a majority of that as well. You start getting like this reputation or these stereotypes and these things that kind of typically get placed upon the people that are like that. So having to understand and hear all of this stuff for years on end, basically from a bunch of other people close to her and probably close to her mom and close to her family and whoever else that she kind of came around, leads her to a point where she's like, oh, fuck all that. I gotta do something to prove all that kind of wrong. And essentially is now taking that approach going forward. She is like, I'm going to dress and do all this stuff and look like her and present myself in this sort of way, where typically you would look at somebody like that and you would make all these negative assumptions about them, or you'd assume all these things, which happen to unfortunately fall true, say on like her mom's part, not fully, but for some of them. And Saki, on the other hand, is like, fuck that. I'm going to go the other way with it. I'm going to appear that way, that you're going to assume all this other stuff is true, but I'm going to take it the complete other way. And I'm going to try my ass off and get through and, you know, make money, but I'm also going to be able to get through and have a good education and do all of this shit too. And then it's like, what do you have left to say to me? You're not going to be able to like say that I get everything handed to me, or, oh, I only like do this, or I only have this going for me, because in reality, she has absolutely everything. She's trying to fully obtain that so that nobody can do that. And she's using it as a way to kind of protect herself, the reason why she appears the way she is, protect her image and face onwards, I guess, kind of the world in general from it. At least my interpretation from based on the things that she said, which is a pretty sick thing. And we really do like that. It's where her sense of like needing to be dependent, independent, entirely on her own here kind of comes from, which is pretty sick, and of course good. But we run into a big problem with that, because that's not always the answer to things, which is something that Yuta kind of calls out to her at some point after speaking with his coworker and figuring that out a little bit more too, of understanding dependent on other people can be a good thing too. And it doesn't just have to hold this sort of reputation that I guess a lot of other people kind of traditionally would almost put on it. And you can do it in certain doses. It doesn't have to be full on. It can be minimal or to certain extents, but you try and take on the burden of carrying everything and doing everything on your own and not having anybody around you that you can kind of rely on or depend on in certain situations, or just ask of anything kind of from, creates a huge fucking problem in life in general, right? You need to have those people around you. You need to have that support system and those other things, because what we've also kind of built to this point is mentally, it seems like Saki's kind of presenting herself in more of a stern, like, I'm aware of like where I'm going and what I'm doing and how I'm approaching all these things, but is kind of fragile at the same exact time and isn't fully all there. So what happens when you reach your breaking point? Where do you go? Who do you have kind of to rely on when you're in that sort of situation? Can you rely on yourself to see yourself sink to the deepest parts that you possibly can and be able to pull yourself back out of that? Or are you going to have to utilize and have other people around you? A lot of times you can pull yourself back out, maybe a couple times, a decent amount of times, but when you get low enough, are you able to? Or you kind of need those other people who maybe will extend their hands for you without you having to reach out, or will willingly be there if you end up going out of your way and reach out, which is why so many people are always saying you got to get a support system. You got to get those people that you can deeply care about around you that actually care about you. You have to willingly go out of your way and speak on things and talk to a bunch of other people, whether it's through like say like therapy in some sort of way, or just having a good support system around you enough that you can actually openly be yourself and speak about these things with, to kind of open yourself up a lot more and not feel like you have to bear all of this stuff, which is essentially what she's trying to do by being independent fully here. And we're going to see likely her get to a point at some time where she's not able to financially gain that independence that she wants. Maybe she hits a bump in the road where she's not able to achieve the educational status that she kind of is. Maybe people continuously perceive her in certain ways that she hasn't really thought that they would, while she's trying to counter against all of that stuff, right? It doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to work out the exact way that you picture. So what's going to be left for you then when you almost become empty, when you almost feel like you have nothing left, or you feel like everything that you've done and led up to this point has been kind of for nothing, and you're not sure what your next turn is, you're not sure where to go next? You kind of need that other kind of person or being or just thing around you for it, which is essentially what we are figuring out about the relationship just between the two of them, having to take this on at the beginning, talking about I want nothing, like we just kind of do our own thing and that's really it. But realistically, we kind of can utilize this, right? We can take advantage of the situation that's been kind of handed to us here and do whatever we can to manipulate that and allow ourselves to maybe have easier lives or just have more successful, whether it's because we gain a bunch of knowledge and opportunity and things as a result or whatever it is. Let's not just ignore it and act as though it's completely nothing and we can actually do something out of it. I mean, we get to see a whole scene later where Saki's about to get isekai'd, and it's like, well, you know, if you're alone and you're completely reliable on yourself and you're trying to close yourself in and just listen to your music and do all these things that she's kind of portrayed herself at the beginning of the episode on the tennis court to really want to do, look at the situation that you find yourself in. Who would have kind of put you in that spot that can kind of humble you almost, right? It's the constant, yeah, too many yes men around me telling me everything that I'm doing right is like a good thing, when in reality it's not. It's like, do you have that person in your life that can set you fucking straight when you're doing some stupid shit, or is it going to take a complete disaster of a wake-up call of you getting hit by this fucking truck that you might not even have the opportunity to wake up from if that were to actually occur, to realize maybe that you need to break out of your ways a little bit or see things from a different perspective? And I think at least that's what that scene was trying to portray, and trying to have somebody like you to be that person who can be real with her and not sugarcoat things at all and just lay into her when she's doing something completely stupid, so that she doesn't do it again, and realize that there's other people out there who do care for you and kind of not want that to happen again. And it's, I don't know, it was weird. I was not expecting that to appear at all in the slightest, but I thought it was pretty cool. All right, let's go through the episode a bit. Wake up, she's already up and moving and thankful and stuff from the night before, continuously moving a little bit slow with some stuff. This was the OP from last time. We still didn't get a full ED, but that's cool. We end up meeting the boy, who's apparently one of our friend, who advises us not to talk to Saki. Basically, a bunch of rumors and things are going around that are not very pleasant, not very good. We stay away from people like her because of whatever she's doing. And it's like, yeah, I'm not buying that. Initially, I don't feel that right away. But if you add up all the things that he said about the variety of people who've kind of come out and said that, yeah, I have heard this, or, oh, I firsthand have heard these things from her, you almost start buying into it and believing it a little bit. And I mean, some of the other stuff, like, he doesn't really fit in with her class. We've kind of seen a little bit where it's not that she doesn't, but it's just who she kind of is, pushes herself almost away entirely from them. And that's more of her, I want to be independent in some sort of way. So she pushes away those who aren't of any use or anything kind of towards or for her. I love him being like, brother, what are you talking about? I thought you don't believe in all that stuff. But then coming out of his way and being like, yeah, well, I heard from this guy that this happened, and she firsthand said, you know, all those things are much worse than whatever you could have even imagined, right? And kind of accepting of it, which almost reads fully to me of, hey, none of this stuff's actually true, but I'm going to tell people and use this as almost a weapon to get them to maybe go away from me. Now, this type of thing might not work that way, because there's a lot of people who will take advantage and think that's a good thing and can utilize that in some sort of way and kind of will go after her because of that. So that scares me a little bit if we continue down that route. But yeah, typically, I guess it would make sense that people would be almost disgusted in a way that they would kind of go away from her. And anybody who willingly would believe these rumors and these things that they hear, instead of actually trusting who she is or trying to hear it firsthand from her or getting to know her in any sort of way, would distance themselves from her. Those are the people that you don't really want around you, right? The people who harass you and come at you and make fun of you for the things that, like, say you like or who you are as a person or whatever, without having maybe good intentions for it, and just kind of create these assumptions not based on who you actually are, but based on the things they hear from you. So she doesn't want those people around her either. I wouldn't want those people around me, and immediately can utilize this as anybody who does come up to her and actually talks to her or whatever is possible good candidates of people that you do need around her. Likely her friend, as we get to see a little bit later, who seems to still be around, that ends up coming over by the back end. So I'm assuming that's a good thing. We play some tennis. Her friend's like really good, energetic, and fun. I am excited to meet her because the coworker who is kind of like her in some sort of way, a little bit, not exactly, is very much a highlight every time we get like the one scene so far through the 2 episodes with her coming in, because she brings a different energy that none of the other characters or anything kind of really have. So when we utilize this other girl, I think we'll kind of be good for that. We talk a little bit. Why are you even talking to me? Well, I get worried when people are doing things that they probably shouldn't be. That's kind of a good thing. That shows a little bit more of his character, his willingness to check in and make sure that people are kind of okay or in a good spot. Not in a position to lecture you, but I am curious based on a few things. So her name is Maya, as we figure out there. Maya wanted to do this, so that wasn't the only reason, but I kind of just follow along with her. There aren't very many team matches, and I don't like depending on anyone or anyone depending on me. Wow, that kind of fits the mold of you both kind of are. And I get that completely. That's the reason why I love the sport in itself too. It's the idea of not having to have other people kind of rely on you. It's the same thing, or relying on other people in taking into control as much as you can. So that's the same thing I've always felt with other sports and stuff too. It's why baseball, I would always pitch, or I made it, when I was younger, I would constantly try and get better at it too. And pitching was the thing that I did. It was not fully that it's only me and I don't have to depend on others. You have fielders and other people that you have to depend on to do things, and it hurts the most when you see them fuck up when you're having a good game. It's an easy play or something, right? That's really annoying, but at the same time, it's the position that you can have the most control over, right? You can control the most when you're actually in that spot, and you're the one controlling like where you're throwing the ball and everything, and you kind of rely on yourself so much more. It's the reason why something like that's good. It's the reason why a sport like tennis is good. It's like why I enjoy like playing golf and other things. It's because you're kind of in control for the most part of what you do, and you're not relying on your teammates as much for their own skill set and making sure that you do things. It's not like if you're playing basketball or something, you got to make sure that your teammates are also constantly defending and doing what they need to. And if they're missing shots or they're not making proper reads on plays and passes and everything, it's like you've run into big problems. It's always a issue I've personally kind of ran into as well with a lot of these things, where it's I just don't truly like, this isn't a sports setting, but it's also I guess kind of in a real life setting almost too, because there'd be other situations where it would come to like driving a car and things, right? I willingly would kind of go out of my way and be the one who does it if I were going out with, say, a group of friends and we have to pick up other people or doing whatever. It's just because I'm in control, right? I can fully control for the most part. While of course there's other variables and stuff, other drivers on the road and everything, or something of course possibly happening with the car and everything, but for the most part you control that narrative, right? Like you're the one in the most control here, versus if I'm in like the back seat, there's literally zero I can do at all. So if I'm the one at least driving, I can control it to the fullest extent, which is more so what I like. And I like to be in control of a lot of these things. I like to not have to depend on any other people, and I prefer to be in a lot of those spots. So a lot of the things that I kind of take a hold of and I kind of don't rely on me relying on other people, and I can completely see that perspective, and they take it to like my entire life I need to do these type of things, but it works in the sense here where he's describing it for I chose this sport for that sole reason. I always imagine that stylish girls like you would be the center of attention. Yeah, well, there's some mixture of personality and some other things, and that goes along with what she talked about before, how people kind of view her or get these assumptions and stuff that they make on her. This is what she said in the first episode, based on her own appearance. And my take on a lot of the stuff that she was saying was other people see you different than how you kind of see yourself, or how you think that they see you. I don't remember exactly the way I said it, but and it still kind of holds true here, right? Everybody's viewing her in a complete different way than she actually views herself, and they don't truly understand or know her in any sort of way. And that's exactly how it is. Typically she would be, and he sees somebody like her and would just assume that she'd be in that sort of situation, when that's not the case at all. And only those that are kind of around her or within her class or whatever can fully pick up on and understand that. Gives me more alone time to listen to music, right? Time to utilize that to shut off the outside world. Nothing else can kind of come in, and I can stay amongst myself and only the sounds that I willingly kind of let in, right? That's kind of what happens. We ended up seeing the mom. Didn't think that we were going to, but being able to learn a little bit about her being a bartender and what her job is kind of like. She made dinner for us, which was sweet. And Saki, of course, doesn't get to see her. You hate to see that. I love the way that she comes in here, where she like knocks and then she does, instead of just like coming in or just answering him directly from the hall or whatever and checking off, and just have a nice little conversation, which I think is good. We go into misunderstanding territory here. I can't say I love that, because we've built the show to be something where we're really not. It's nice that we do clear it up for what it is, but the finish of it like kind of feels way too predictable, of that's not all what she means, and the way that she's phrasing things is just kind of coming off wrong until we get into like actually clarifying everything. But essentially looking for high paying job, needing some help, not knowing exactly what it is, and wanting to take advantage of actually doing that. But the problem is she doesn't really know what to do. Well, I could do this or I could do that. Well, that's exactly what the rumors are kind of saying about you, so maybe we don't. And he panics a lot until he clarifies clarifies a little bit that that's not it, where we expand a lot on who exactly she is and what exactly she's doing or why she's after certain things in certain ways, which we talked about a lot already at the beginning. I thought this was sweet that she was like, yeah, make sure you guys eat it together. Don't only do that through all the rumors and the words and stuff that she kind of hears, and utilizing things to kind of weaponize yourself is pretty cool. People using that logic to corner you absolutely completely sucks. I'm in this clothes, I have to look perfect, I have to make myself stand out as a result of that, but I also have the strength of doing all these other things to back that up, and it's the first step I can really do to kind of correct that vision and stuff that everybody really has here. Just trying to prove them wrong, but why? And he notices that too. Who are you trying to prove wrong? Who are your enemies in this situation, right? Like, who do you have it out for that you're trying to get back at as a result? Like, what is this grudge that you're almost holding on to? You've shown the discipline almost enough to separate yourself entirely from people who are complete negatives in your life and that you don't really need to be around, and instead just seek out those good ones. But why are we in a spot here why that is your focus, and who exactly? Because it's almost like those are the types of people that you're getting back at. Like, why is that the case? Which is a crazy thing. Immediately he gets triggered to a flashback, which I'm not certain even how to fully read this outside of the idea of he's in a situation where he has probably heard a lot of stuff as well. It seems like he's with his mom here, so he probably heard a lot of stuff, whether it's regarding her or regarding, yeah, it might be probably regarding her. And this was the last time that he can, the miso soup thing, so it's like a remembrance of that and being at the table and sharing a moment with them, this being the last time. But maybe in a similar situation as seeing people kind of having it out for them or doing everything in their life to kind of get back at somebody, and maybe he sees a reflection of something in there. This scene, I truly just don't think I get a full read on why he goes into this memory, if it's not just for the soup thing, but I don't really know. Not as strong as you. Don't want to rely on everybody, but can you be strong enough to get through life on your own? It's kind of a tough thing to get through. I'll ask her for some help. Well, I don't really want that because there needs to be some sort of trade-off. Well, how about you utilize this and we can work together and you can make something for me, and it's like a fair trade-off. And I love how I'm pretty sure she doesn't say directly that. I don't mind cooking, I'll cook for you. Like, sure, in order to do this, we can do that, right? And she doesn't specify exactly what she's doing. So that's why when we wake up, we end up seeing this. I love the dad just being here. He's so fun. Completely thrown up and destroyed. We learn a little bit about each other, what we prefer, what the tradition almost within the family and stuff kind of is as we grow closer and can start understanding the people's taste, talking to them, talking things out a little bit more, maybe introducing them to things like this, but then seeing if he prefers to go back the other way, and we can do that instead. We talk to her a little bit where she gives us some good advice ultimately about needing to rely on other people at times and having those other people kind of around you. She takes fun approaches where she messes around, but then at certain times drops the act a little bit, but then puts it back on. She's really fun. Even the people who get to the top, the ones you look at and have these good whatever assumptions and stuff about them, maybe the kind of figure in the thing that Saki herself is trying to go after here, still have other people that kind of they depend on, right? They have people who go around to clean their massive mansions and everything that they have, right? They have people that they have to rely on to properly do their job so that they can make money and be put in the position that they are. They have people who manage them, I guess, even for the things that they do, right? Who like manage all their money and everything else. They have their personal like helpers and stuff. Like they have people that they kind of need to. So regardless, you need people around you making jokes and stuff. She's really fun, and he's kind of taken that on. How can you depend on people the right way, which is always the balanced struggle that you're going to run into. What exactly can I do to be enough in a certain spot, but at the same time, what exactly can I do to like not rely on other people enough? Like I need to find and strike that balance of I need somebody in my life to help me with this, this, and this, where maybe we have an equal trade in the things that we can do, but accepting that maybe I'm not strong enough in these aspects, or until I am strong enough, I need to rely on and have that person kind of help me. Also, because it can relieve a lot of stress. Also, because it can relieve responsibilities and things for you to do. There's a variety of reasons for that. Also, the reason I talked about at the beginning, if you mentally sink yourself to a point that you kind of need other people to be around you, who then do you have? Can you rely on others? Can you be dependent on others? If that kind of comes to it, or are you going to continuously tell yourself that you need to do things alone? And what happens when you're not strong enough to actually get there? Well, then you have situations where you willingly walk in front of the bus as opposed to accidentally having it come through when the bus shouldn't be going through the red light, right? And that's not really the situation that we want to find ourselves in at all. And that's why she struggles so much in a situation like this, because you guys are great people. I would have a much easier time doing any of this stuff if you guys weren't terrible, because instead, or if you guys were, because instead, you guys are great people and I want to rely on you, but then I feel even shittier because it's like you're taking advantage of a great person. Instead, you look at this as it would be easier to be stuck in my own head and not be pushed out and not be able to do the things that I actually want to do if I just had a bunch of people who left me be and didn't care for and didn't worry about me. So of course, when we go into the next situation, I still don't even know what the fuck she gave him here. When we go into the next one, me assuming this entire scene is him just kind of stopping with her here and not wanting to talk to her, or not wanting to, but just kind of letting it be. We don't need to have that sort of relationship or anything like this. Instead, it's able to go and she's able to walk, but somebody decided that he didn't want to stop and he bad ahead her, so we have to completely scold her. It's crazy how quick they cut us into those two and then immediately cut us out without really explaining or anything until we get to see that she is okay, and he completely lays in on her. I don't, like the scene itself, like I said at the beginning, my read of it was more of she's in a spot where she's going to need to rely on others to be able to like pull her back or set her straight when she's doing things like this, or like something like this is happening. But she didn't do anything wrong from my read of it. The thing looked like it said that she could walk, right? And then the car still came and did it. So how is that her fault? Is it more of I just can't let you do things like this that are more of put your earbuds in and cross the street and not look both ways and not be aware and just assume your safety and assume you're fine and everything? Is it more of him just getting angry about that? Which I guess would make sense, because you absolutely don't want something like that. And you need to be alert enough of your surroundings and can't completely isolate yourself there. So is it something along the lines of that, or is there something else to it? Like, because I don't understand. There's nothing else that she could have done besides remove them and pay more attention and be a bit more alert, right? There's nothing else. So I don't know. Do get to see that she was all right. It starts raining. I don't understand the decision not to just walk together with it and instead of run away and just hand her the umbrella and let her have it. Another example of her allowing, or her being relied on in some sort of way, or depending on somebody else here, instead of getting herself completely destroyed and wet. And he ends up helping himself out here, and look who decided to come over for some reason. I don't know why. We're about to find out. I'm excited. The secret's out, all exposed. How's she gonna take it? Will she spread it to other people? Will she have another side of her that's not presented to other people that she also willingly has at home too? I don't know. A variety of things. I'm actually really interested and intrigued on how this conversation can kind of go about, or if it's just going to be pretty standard and normal, but we will see. Really enjoying this a lot. The tone of it is pretty mellow, but it's like really engaging because of that, because it doesn't feel so over the top, and it feels widely different, I think, from a lot of these type of series typically within anime itself. So it's pretty sick because of that. So hopefully you guys did like, though I liked it a lot. If you like that, I'll like and subscribe. Not to me, feel free to check out the videos and channel, comments about this series. I'll be back for episode 3 next week if it's a great one. Peace.